animator or being in the animation world is more than just your job and your life. It's a lifestyle. So what we're going to talk about is how to manage that, whether or not you're a freelancer, whether or not you are an owner, whether or not you work for every feature film that comes to town. How do you manage that? Do y'all hear it? Okay. So, first of all, I'm Lisa Farrell. I am a board member for ASIFA, and I have been a post-producer in Atlanta for a billion years. Great friends with, all of us know each other, great friends with Ashley. I am currently a professor of practice at Georgia State University's Creative Media Industries Institute, where I teach producing and basically storytelling. And I'm also a partner in South, the animation firm. So I'm going to let each of the panelists introduce themselves, and then we can get going. And I will start with who's?
I'll do it. Go down the line, it's easier that way. I am Jameson Gravely. I recently was working at Awesome Inc. over here with Ashley, the owner. I'm a production manager, so I do all sorts of day-to-day animation producing and design producing.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Rochelle. I am a background designer, although I started my career in animation. I got my degree at SCAD for animation, and that was in 2014, and I've been working in the industry ever since.
Very nice.
Hello, my name is Joshua Leonard. I'm a character designer. I probably work for 14 plus studios. I'm a concept artist, 2D animator, but I get paid to design characters for a living. And I'm currently with Lion Forge Animation.
Hi, I'm Mark Simon. I'm generally known as the godfather of storyboarding. I've been in the industry now about 38 years. I've worked on over 6,000 productions. I've including animation producer on 3 features. I've owned 2 animation studios. My first animation gig was actually animating Tinkerbell for Disney. It's kind of a nice way to start, a little bit of pressure. I've written 13 books on the industry. I've produced all the courses on LinkedIn Learning about voiceover and storyboarding. And looking forward to this. Thanks.
Hey everyone, my name is Christos Perry. I am an animator, director, founder of Dynasty Animation. Mainly freelance. We've done all types of stuff. I worked on projects for Nickelodeon, Turner Broadcasting, Hulu, Universal Music Group, all types of stuff. So.
Hi, my name is Desmond Du. I'm a motion designer and creative technologist at this company called Dagger Media, that's based in New York. I also run this YouTube channel for motion design called Mostly Creative. And previously I did my BFA and MFA in SCAD doing motion media, then worked at Warner Media Studio for a bit doing broadcast motion graphics. So that's a little bit about my history.
Hello, I'm Ashley Kohler. I'm a ASIFA board member and founder owner of Awesome Inc. here in Atlanta. I came up in advertising and worked at Cartoon Network for 8 years as director of production, and I love animation and Lisa.
Y'all sit down, sit down.
Yes. No, they told us to go out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're gonna, when we do breakout tables, I guess.
Do y'all mind if I just have a squat? So, I want to start with this.
Okay.
As we all know that right now, not just in animation, but in the entertainment industry itself, due to like all the things we've had with COVID, with all of the strikes and the rumors of strikes, and especially for someone who's a part of the gig economy, how do you keep yourself from deciding, maybe I want to go work at a bank? How do you do that?
How dare you even suggest that?
There's also this mic right
James,
here.
we'll start with you.
Are they hiring at the bank currently?
Do you want us to sit in chairs? Should we sit in chairs?
I would like him if he
Okay.
said that.
There's chairs.
Anyone feel
This kind of shares.
Hold. Do you need to pull this out? Got it? There we go. Grandma, stay over here.
Want to share half an inch chicken with me?
Yeah, hey, it's difficult. Every time, I do the baker thing, maybe not so much, but currently, there are options out there for, product managers or people who produce software, right? And that's sort of like the boring equivalency that I could potentially go into. And every time I do that, I think about how kind of soulless that is, and how there's a lot less fun in it, and that kind of helps too. But also on my end, it's just a lot less creative problem solving. Like it's very much like a binary answer. This is the way that's supposed to go, and then if it doesn't go that way, you do this. And in animation or this creative industry in general, there's a lot of more creative problem solving, and I find a lot more fulfillment in that kind of thing, actually handling and finding an answer myself. And that's what keeps me from wanting to go to a different industries. Genuinely speaking, love for the job.
I love that.
Yeah, I would have to agree with the majority of what he said, is that there's like a love of the job that like keeps us coming back every single time. But also for me personally, I know that I'm probably not alone in this room. I've worked a lot of different jobs, and some jobs are really great fits, some jobs are not.
When you say a lot of different jobs, do you mean jobs within the industry or just?
Within the industry,
Local
sure.
jobs.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I used to work in animation, then I switched over to the backgrounds department. But outside of that, like you work like various retail jobs, maybe you work in food service, maybe you're a delivery driver, and you build up this experience outside of this industry. And with working all those jobs, you kind of get to know what works for you and what doesn't really work for you. And animation has been the best fit for me that I have found, especially even more so now that I've moved into the design department. So that's why I keep coming back to it, is because it feels like I was meant to be here.
Very nice.
So I worked 18 years at Home Depot. And during my 18 years at Home Depot, I'm currently there. I work in the morning tomorrow for 4 hours.
What do you do?
I drop forklifts.
Oh.
But the only reason I had to quit, now I'm part-time, so I'm able to work 4 hours, just one day, because I'm full-time animation now. But I always tell people, thank you. Thank you. And I'm not bragging, I'm just saying I tell people, you do what you have to do so you can you do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
So I have no problem being transparent about that. I have to work a full-time job. Now I'm able to step down and work part-time at Home Depot and do line forge animation full-time, along with the other studios that I work for. So it's been great. It's been a learning experience. I'm grateful for it, and it makes you really appreciate when you do get the studio job to go 150%.
Yes.
So I don't look back. So thank you.
Mark?
Well, I guess I've been the lucky one. 38 years in the industry. Since I started, I've never worked outside the industry.
Wow.
And okay, I'm all right with that. There are some downtime. I mean, the nice thing about animation was that was the one part of the industry that I was working in that during COVID didn't shut down. It was easy to keep working animation, whereas all live action shut down. I do both. I actually do mostly live action, but there's a lot of animation in everything I storyboard. So I always look at whenever there's some downtime in between gigs, that's marketing time. We're a business. As a freelancer, you're a business. You have to treat yourself as a business. So I market, and one of the ways that I market that anyone can do, and almost nobody does, is I always save the crew list on every project I work on. And those who are responsible for hiring my position all go into an email database. And as soon as I see there might be a gap coming up, I put together an email showcasing, here's the latest things I've been working on, that I blast to everybody. I honestly have never talked to anyone else in the industry who does this, but it's also why I never have downtime. Because it's very easy to forget people you like as you go on to other productions and you remember the people you've most recently been working with. I make sure that even if I haven't worked with you for 2 or 3 years, I'm still gonna be the first person you think of when you need to hire a story artist. Because I'm always touching base with them. And thus, I have no downtime. It's like I've got 3 jobs already booked for next week on major shows, so.
I love your answer, and because of your answer, I'm gonna kind of revise the question for you three.
Okay.
So, Mark, you just mentioned the importance of basically networking and keeping yourself evergreen. How do the three of you how do you do it? How do you make sure that people remember that you were there?
I mean, honestly, Mark just dropped the gym on me. You know, I never thought to look at it that way in terms of marketing when you're off of a job. You know, just like blasting the people that you've worked with previously and showing them like what you've done to keep yourself in their, you know, in their mouth, so to speak. You know, just in the room, keep your name in the room, and you know, like Josh said, like I manage an art gallery, you know, part time.
Which art gallery?
Bucket Art Company.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I work there and I still freelance as well. So, you know,
But you're always surrounded by art.
always surrounded by art. That's the main thing, you know. Don't be afraid to get a job. You know, get a part-time job to support yourself. And that, I feel like that's such a weight off your shoulders that it helps your creative process. And, you know, when you do have downtime to do things that you love, because that's the main way people find your art, is when you do the stuff that you love. So, you know, when you're doing that, you know, always make sure that if you have to get a job, that you get something that you love that's not soul draining. And, you know, always, you know, stay creative and stay positive during those downtimes.
Very
I'll share a little bit more about the networking and find opportunity, right? So I think these days, because of LinkedIn or social media, the word networking has this corporate connotation to it. And schools are kind of advocating for this type of professionalism, right? You gotta network, right? You gotta be in there. And then it's like, what does that even mean? You know, you gotta be professional, you know? But I think at the end of the day, to network is just to be genuine, to show up, to be respectful, to listen to people, be curious, and that's it. But along the way, we've forgotten that, oh, we gotta, this is special 5 steps though to kind of network with the community or attract new leads. Right? So that's how society would become, but I think we all just remember, we just gotta, you know, think about how we give value to our people, learn about them, rather than thinking like what's in it for us, right? As for sourcing new opportunities, I think it's going to events or places you would never guess you would go. I'll show you 2 things that happened this year. It's funny, I got like two freelance gigs, which like 2 gigs I turned down just by being in the right place, right time. I was at Savannah having coffee, and I sat down, I asked, is this chair taken? And then this guy just, oh, no, go ahead, and say like, oh, and then he asked me, what do you do? You know, and I said, I'm a web designer. I said, oh, cool, I know a friend who's an editor, you should talk to him, he can get you a job. And I'm like, I already got a job, dude. He was like pushing really hard. And then 2 weeks later, I was at this live code event in New York, and then I was at a back sitting down, minding my own business, and this guy started, you know, chatting me. I said, what do you do? I was like, I do motion design, After Effects. And he perked up. So actually, I'm looking for After Effects artists. And I'm like, oh my God, what are the chances? I'm like, no, I wasn't even interested. I just want to sit down and enjoy the show. But he was like telling me like, he needs this thing done. And I'm like, oh, it's interesting how, you know, there is no formula to finding a job or a gig. It just happens, and you just need to be in that opportunity, that the space of opportunity.
I love it. Ashley, my question for you is going to be a little different.
I'm glad. You gave all the answers, I have nothing to say.
No, well, here's the thing. For you, it's kind of like a double-minded thing because you have to keep yourself perked up when times are hard. But you've also got people who are looking up to you, who you're responsible for. How do you manage to keep their spirits lifted, keep the work going when the work is kind of trickling in? How do you do that?
It's very hard. I think, you know, I was just talking to some of my co-workers down there who have been so talented with us for a while, and you know, it's a weird position to be in when you are not only the person that's taking all the jobs away or giving all the jobs, and everybody's like, you're the man and you're ruining our lives. When you too are sort of like, where's my next meal coming from? You know, I need to make sure that I can keep putting coal in this fire, but not just for me and my son and my husband, but also for all the people that are on a health insurance plan, because I'm bringing in the work and I'm doing that. So it gets extremely stressful. People talk a lot about starting companies, and I encourage it so much. I think there'd be so much more to be, so many more points of view, and more people would just start studios. But the hard part about it is once you start it, it's a machine. It's
Yes.
a beast you have to feed in order to keep it going, and you kind of make yourself a bit of a cage. You know, anyone that works for me can come in and give me 2 weeks notice, but I can't give myself 2 weeks notice. I can't sort of shut the place down. It's a machine that runs, and people count on us. So it's just optimism. Like you just have to believe it's going to work out. I mean, which is a crazy notion, but you know, it's been 18 years. I can't believe that I've had this studio for that long, and I'm old, like I'm not old, but that shocks me in and of itself. But in all that time, it's just a roller coaster. There's plenty of times when it's slow, and you're sort of like, what are we gonna do? And just like you said, you market during that period of time. You're supposed to market when you're busy, because then you'll have work when you're
If
slow.
you don't plant seeds,
Yeah.
nothing's gonna be
But just
growing.
like all of us, when we're killing ourselves with, you know, our day work and then our side job and then taking care of your kids or whatever you got to do, sending out a newsletter is not high on your list. So we're all doing that right now. I mean, I had a 2-hour meeting today about this exact topic. What we're gonna do, how we're gonna get the jobs, where we're gonna go, we're gonna beef up our this, we're gonna do that. So it's very similar for studios as it is for everyone else. We're just doing sort of steering on a bigger ship.
Absolutely. So, keep the mic, because you're gonna be
Okay.
talking about starting studios. I want to talk about the climate in the Atlanta industry. I don't know if all of you are native, but I kind of wanted to know how you feel working in this line of work in Atlanta. And after this question, I think we'll do the round table. I'll just quickly then, how is Atlanta for your career? And
Right
you and
now.
we did that whole article for Oz when we were talking about William Street and how all of this animation came and how Atlanta is an animation company. So yeah,
But do you mean, how is it right now? Or
Yes.
how?
how is it overall? However you want to answer
So
it.
our people grew up in the same place
Yeah.
in South Georgia, in a little town where they shoot Walking Dead, or did. So, but I'm a native, and it's so different. And the Georgia's film tax credit changed everything for all of us. I mean, it really did. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know where we'd be sitting now. But it's great. I've always told people it's great when parents are trying to figure out if their kids should actually go to art school or go to school for animation or design. I'm not the one they want to talk to, because I'm always like, yeah, they should. It's a booming industry, and they can find work, and it's a real job. I think a lot of parents were trying to get me to talk them out of that and
Yeah.
to go to accounting school or whatever. But I think right now it's very tough. I mean, it's very, very tough. There are way more outlets and opportunities for content to find its home, but there are more people making it than ever. I mean, 18 years ago when I started our company, there were not as many studios. But that aside, there were not nearly as many programs at school. Now there are so many more people that can do this, that are competing for the work that there is, which is good in one way. But I do genuinely feel like Atlanta will, it's not just Atlanta, that's the thing. Like I was gonna say, bounce back from this. It's a terrible time to be coming out of school. I apologize to you all. It is, but the good news is that it will change. I mean, we've been through a recession, we've been through COVID, we've been through thing after thing after thing that really affected our industry. And the thing is that makes us all say, people want to watch things. They want to devour things, they want more new things, and they need to buy things. And so if you're selling shows, you're selling products, and you're making content, content, and that's never gonna change, so, it'll be fine. That's my prediction. My prediction is it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the quote from this panel. It'll be fine.
Just hang on.
So I want all of you to answer, and then then after that, you'll all have a turn at them.
So what was the question again?
How is Atlanta?
How is Atlanta? Again, I live in Atlanta from 2019 to 2020, so I can give you my experience of like the back then and also like my post-grad experience. Because when I graduated out of SCAD in 2019, I feel like it was everything was thriving. The motion design, animation industry was thriving. People was getting like internship and job opportunities before they graduate. Now fast forward 5 years, everyone's like struggling. You know, it's like studios are not hiring. You know, freelance is low and super competitive. I'm sure you guys see on LinkedIn, like they will post on like how people are looking for jobs and looking for animators or like an artist, and then
Hundreds.
it gets flooded with like, oh, here's my reel, I have 20 years of experience, and then you should hire me, something like that. And I was like, oh man, this is tough for the recent graduates. But hopefully things will get better. I think I'll just end this up by saying that you have to rely on the community, right? The tenant reputation. And it starts not just like at the end of school, but at the start of school, or actually wherever you go.
Yeah, so I guess for me, so I came to Atlanta in 2016. I graduated SCAD in 2015, I came in 2016. I started my company in 2017, and then, so, I didn't know how to run a company. I didn't know, anything about Atlanta. I didn't know anybody out here. But it was just freelancing and just, getting my name out there. And then I started doing, music videos and, working with rappers and all types of stuff like that. So it just, you kind of build your name, and that builds your community, and it's really funny. So like when I started with my buddies, we didn't know that COVID was gonna hit, and COVID was the busiest time for us, all the way up until like 2022, because nobody could really go outside and do anything. So everybody needed animation, and and to Ashley's point, it's like it gets stressful when you're managing people, when you're like trying to keep their hopes up while keeping your own hopes up. It can be a lot, and you're always wearing so many hats. For me, I'm a small, company. I can manage maybe 5 to 10 people, and
That's a lot.
It gets stressful when you're like the accountant and the director and trying to draw over other people's stuff and corrections. It can be a lot, but it'll be fine.
I think it's pretty fucking great right now. First of all, you need to be willing to move to where the jobs are, depending on what it is that you want to do. I started my career out in LA. I was not native there. I moved from Texas to LA a week after I graduated college, started working right away. Then when the big quake hit Frisco, my wife freaked out. And so Florida had a tax incentive. They were growing. We moved to Florida. We opened up Nickelodeon together. And that was great until Florida lost the incentive. Georgia had a great incentive. So we moved up here. And one of my goals is to work on The Walking Dead. And I landed it 2 months before I moved here. But being part of living here means that any production that's shooting here can write off a portion of what they're paying me. So, living here has made a huge difference, and it's been great. And the nice thing is now that IATSE has a tentative agreement, there's not going to be a strike. The ASA and IATSE just announced it yesterday. Now, if something fucks up, yeah, there might be a strike, but they've got a month to finalize everything, and they have the tentative agreement. So TV has been going strong for a number of months. Film has been very slow to come back. I know a lot of the top story artists have been very slow getting back if they deal just with features. But now that there's not really a fear of another strike crippling the industry, that's going to start being greenlit more and more. So from now over the next few years, we're going to see a huge increase in more production.
So I've been in Atlanta for 10 years, and all of my studio work has come from LA for some reason. Don't know why, don't really care, because LA is paying more. But it's unfortunate, but that's been my experience. But like Mark said, marketing, branding, I'm real big on branding, how you carry yourself, how you look, how you act. People need to see that. LinkedIn, social media, I love all of that stuff. I take advantage of all of it. So when they see me share my work on these social websites, I get booked like that. But the bookings come from LA, which is crazy to me when I live in Atlanta. But that's been my experience. But like I said, LA pays more, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up all this, but I'll try. My experience with working in Atlanta and living in Atlanta is that I'm not originally from here. I'm originally from Delaware, and if you don't know where that is, that's fine. That's one of the reasons I moved. No shade to Delaware. It's the second smallest state. Like, you are more like Ness. Rhode Island is the smallest. Delaware is the first state. We were the first ones to sign the Constitution. Anyways, about Delaware. Going off of what Mark said, I think that you have to be willing to move to where the jobs are. And for me, it was a lot easier to move to Atlanta after going to school in Savannah, when all of my family lives on the East Coast, than to move all the way out into LA, which I'm sure for a lot of people is a perfectly valid option, but for me, it wasn't. So having Atlanta be the Hollywood of the South for me, and my experience, was extremely valuable, because it means that I get to stay close to my family while also, well, relatively close to my family. It's a 12-hour drive, whatever. It's better than 36. But it was extremely valuable to me to be able to start my career here. And since moving here as like a full-time resident, I guess you could say, after I graduated SCAD in 2014, Atlanta's been very good to me. I've been able to work at a lot of the local studios, especially with Ashley. We've worked together a couple of times, and those have been really great opportunities for me. I think it's important to say that I love the direction that Atlanta is going in terms of our industry, and I would like to see it get bigger so that we can establish ourselves more as a larger foothold in the industry, because we have a lot of really talented artists here, and I would love to see this industry grow even more.
Thank you. James?
Hey, so I'm gonna be the Debbie Downer up here. I think the industry right now is in a particularly bad place, but that's a national problem, not an Atlanta problem, to be clear, right? Separated. If you want to go to Ireland or Canada, those two places are hiring in the same amount of areas right now. They are. But there is something to be said about working in Atlanta. I come from Philadelphia originally. I came back down here with Tiffany to Atlanta to live here. We kind of made that decision in about 24 hours, which was insane. We had about $3,000 moved down here in about 24 hours and tried to establish ourselves.
Yeah, we're like, this is a make or break moment. So
Yeah,
it's not.
So I can definitely say being available for the gig and being in the place available for the gig is very important. I personally am not really much of a West Coast mentality guy. I think I'm a little too blunt, and I think I talk a little too straight for LA. But that being said, I like Atlanta because I can be me here, and I don't have to do a certain dance that I might have to do on the West Coast. I think there's upsides and downsides to working in Atlanta. And I think the upside that I particularly enjoy is it's a small community, but a tight community,
Yes.
which means that, yes, it's hard to get your first foothold here, but once you get your first foothold here, it becomes hard to not have a foothold here. Whereas in LA, you could be there, get a job, lose it, and then have no contacts. Like, and then just not have a job for a long time, right? It's a little tougher to do that in Atlanta because it seems like here we have a community of people that try to catch each other.
Absolutely. Thank you, James. All right, y'all, we are going to do our breakout session so you can hit all of these wonderful people up one-on-one. So,
Where do you want us?
What do we do?
Okay, so if everybody can form a group, one in each corner, so then our dearest panelists, could you guys go to each corner of the room?
Well, there's 7 of us.
Yes.
There's only 4 corners.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So 7 groups, not 4 groups.
Yes. 7 groups, not 4.
So they have to divide themselves.
All right, so it's up to you.
Yes.
Get at it.
So
Who's your favorite?
Oh, no, stop that.
Thank you in advance.
we're gonna rotate in 2 sessions of 15 minutes as well too, so the guests will rotate.
How do you want to divide it?
Yeah, it's usually like four big groups, and then last time we rotated the speakers so that not everyone had to move around. And everyone
Speakers,
could kind
just
of
grab your
talk.
name tag and grab a seat. They'll sit around us. That's fast. It's gonna be a clusterfuck otherwise.
I don't want to be here.
I'll sit right here. There's no, oh, should I sit there?